Yesterday, we got the announcement that a lot of people have been waiting a long time for. Ever since they announced that they were going to be doing a Harry Potter reboot TV series on HBO and HBO Max. And of course, a massive casting call. I think they did like 30,000 auditions in some way, shape, or form for the Golden Trio for Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And a lot of people, especially with what we saw with some of the early casting, specifically Black Snape, which is just absolutely insane. By the way, the idea that they actually did race swap Snape, a full-on race swap of Severus Snape, one of the most retarded things they could do. And one of the things that, regardless of who else they cast, for some people, that's it. Like, the show is done for them because of what a terrible miscast it is, and clearly the agenda surrounding it. But people still wanted to know, who would the Golden Trio be? Who's your Harry, Ron, and Hermione? And now we have our answer. Harry Potter HBO series cast Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And I made a video about this yesterday when the news first broke, kind of my initial reactions. And obviously, this has set the internet on fire because people care about these characters. There's tens of millions of fans all over the world. And when you look across here, I want to make sure we say their names. Alistair Stout as Ron Weasley. There's your redhead Ron Weasley. I think he looks great. Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter, right in the middle. And he's smiling here. One of the things you really want for a character like Harry Potter, and something I think Daniel Radcliffe did exceedingly well, even as a child, was, it's great to see smiling pictures of him, blah, 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 when he gets cast. But you also want to make sure that that kid can look like he's had a miserable fucking life, in a lot of ways. And I have seen some of the images of him that are out there as well, where he does kind of almost that haunted look at times. He can portray that. So I think that is a very important thing for Harry too. I still haven't seen close enough shot to his eyes to know if they're green or not. They got to be green. Whether you're using contacts, whether you change it, I don't care. Harry's eyes have to be green. It's important to the story. And of course, Hermione Granger. And Hermione's going to be played by Arabella Stanton. Now, obviously, one of the things that's out there, Arabella Stanton is just about a shade darker than anybody else, than Harry or Ron here. Honestly, I was worried about Hermione. I was worried about the Hermione casting. I really have no problems with this, especially because she's the most experienced of all of them. And I would imagine the reason, this is Arabella Stanton, I would imagine one of the reasons she got cast in this role was probably her performance as Matilda on West End, which is a pretty big role for a 9-year-old at the time. And I think she can do a solid Hermione. I really don't have any problems. Hermione should be a slightly lighter than her if you're going by probably what the books indicate. But overall, I really don't have a problem with this. The problem that I have still with this series is not Arabella Stanton as Hermione. It's Black Snape. This is you are not able to overlook this. This is not something, that's a passable casting. This is straight up fucking race swap. Okay? That's what this is. And even when you do, because now there are conversations about this. This is blown up on the internet, and rightly so, about the casting of Hermione and about Snape, because these characters have details in their lives, in their story, that could matter if you race swap them like this. And that's something that people are talking about. Will HBO now have to rewrite awkward Hermione and Snape storylines? Now, when it comes to Hermione, who is just slightly darker skinned than I have no idea what this young girl's ethnicity is. I really don't care. I think she looks fine as Hermione. But these are questions that then come up, especially when it comes to someone like Snape, getting bullied the way he is, strung up underneath a tree, shit like this. And then Hermione, who's constantly being called a mudblood. Hermione, who tries to free house elves from enslavement and basically gets mocked and ridiculed for it. Those are things you have to think about when you're doing these castings. Overall, I don't have a problem with the Hermione casting. If this was the only thing that I was like, not perfect, but okay, then I think we're talking about a completely different story with this series. But J.K. Rowling has finally weighed in on the Harry Potter cast. At least these 3 characters. J.K. Rowling reveals her verdict on HBO's Harry Potter cast. And let's just keep in mind that it has been weeks and weeks, maybe over a month, since the announcement of Black Snape. And we have heard nothing from J.K. Rowling, other than her coming out after an article came out about him signing a trans rights letter and blah, 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 all this bullshit. She came out and said, hey, I don't have the power to fire anybody, and I would never fire anyone simply over political differences. She hasn't said shit about the casting of Snape. She's pretty quick to give her comments on these three, though. Please tell Dominic, Arabella, and Alistair they're already loved by the fandom, and we can't wait to see the show. We wish them the best and that they have a magic time. This is from just some random Twitter account. J.K. Rowling responds, all three are wonderful. I couldn't be happier. So it's weird that less than a day after the announcement of these characters, J.K. Rowling said, hey, looks awesome. Looks great. Hasn't said shit about Black Snape. Not a fucking peep about the complete and total bastardization of that character. I do find that very, very interesting. And certainly, I would hope, right? One of the problems with this entire saga has been that the media is they are so anti-J.K. Rowling, I can't believe that you hold the same opinion as 99% of people in the world, that men are men and women are women. How are people going to feel working with someone like that? It's only a matter of time before the media starts asking these young kids, these 10-year-olds questions about this type of shit. You can only hope that that doesn't happen, because that would be insane, especially because J.K. Rowling's thoughts on trans people aren't controversial in any way. It's what 99% of people in the world think, right? It's not controversial in any way, shape, or form, except in leftist Hollywood media, like echo chambers. That's the only place where saying something like this would be considered controversial. But certainly it blew up on the internet. J.K. Rowling has, essentially said, hey, looks great to me, as opposed to anything about Snape. But this is such a sore thumb that sticks out. This is such an elephant in the room, this casting, that it is going to be impossible for them to ignore the backlash going into this series.